Are you doing everything right in the morning? Maybe eating a healthy breakfast, grabbing your coffee, getting on with your day, yet your energy crashes by noon and the scale refuses to move? Here's what's really going on inside your body. The first 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up are not just part of your day, they set your metabolic direction for the next 12 to 16 hours. In other words, your morning routine is either turning on fat burning or quietly shutting it down. Most people don't realize this, but your hormones, especially insulin, cortisol, and glucagon, are highly sensitive during this window. If you spike insulin too early, you lock your body into sugar burning mode. But if you guide your biology correctly, you can flip a switch that allows your body to burn stored fat efficiently all day long. And this isn't about extreme dieting or complicated routines. It's about simple science-backed shifts. Things like when you eat, what you drink, how you use light, movement, and even hydration to work with your metabolism instead of against it. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through a powerful morning routine that supports fat burning at the hormonal level. We'll break down the physiology, clear up common mistakes, and give you practical tools you can start using immediately. Because once you understand this, your mornings stop being random and start becoming strategic. And that's where real metabolic change begins. Let's start with the foundation, because if you miss this, nothing else in your morning routine will work the way you want it to. Your body wakes up in a very specific hormonal state. Cortisol is naturally elevated. Now, cortisol often gets a bad reputation, but in the morning, it's actually your ally. It's there to mobilize energy, to raise your blood sugar just enough to help you wake up, think clearly, and get moving. Here's what's really going on inside your body. While you were sleeping, your body was in a fasting state. Insulin levels dropped and your body shifted into fat burning mode. That means you wake up already primed to burn fat. Think of it like a hybrid car that has just switched into electric mode overnight, efficient, clean, and steady. But the moment you eat something that spikes insulin, especially refined carbs or even a healthy high-carb breakfast, you switch the system back into sugar-burning mode. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine insulin as a storage hormone. When insulin is high, your body is in store mode. When insulin is low, your body is in burn mode. You cannot effectively burn fat while insulin is elevated. The two processes are mutually exclusive. What the research shows is that even a moderate carbohydrate intake in the morning can significantly raise insulin levels and suppress fat oxidation for hours afterward. That means your healthy toast, fruit smoothie, or cereal could be quietly shutting down fat burning for most of your day. So what's the solution? Delay that insulin spike. Instead of eating immediately when you wake up, give your body time to stay in that fat burning state. This doesn't mean starving yourself. It means strategically extending the natural fast your body is already in. Start your morning with water, ideally with a pinch of sea salt or electrolytes. This supports hydration, helps your cells function properly, and does not trigger insulin. If you're comfortable, push your first meal later, maybe 60 to 90 minutes after waking, or even longer if your body adapts well. This is a simple form of time-restricted eating, and it can dramatically improve metabolic flexibility. Now, if you do choose to eat in the morning, focus on protein and healthy fats, foods that have minimal impact on insulin. Think eggs, avocado, maybe some nuts. Avoid the quick sugar spikes. And here's the key point I want you to remember. Your first metabolic decision of the day sets the tone for everything that follows. Now let's build on that foundation, because even if you delay your first meal, there's another silent mistake that can completely sabotage your fat-burning potential. And it's something most people think is healthy. Let's talk about the healthy breakfast myth. Oatmeal, whole grain toast, fruit smoothies, fresh juice. These foods are often marketed as heart-healthy, natural, and energizing. But here's what's really going on inside your body. Many of these foods are still glucose dominant. That means they break down quickly into sugar in your bloodstream, triggering a significant insulin response, even if they contain fiber or come from natural sources. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your bloodstream like a highway. Glucose is the traffic. Insulin is the traffic controller. When you consume a high-carb breakfast, even a clean one, you flood the highway with carbs. Insulin steps in to manage that traffic, directing glucose into cells. But in doing so, it also sends a very clear signal. Stop burning fat. Store energy instead. What the research shows is that high glycemic meals in the morning can lead to a rapid spike and then a crash in blood sugar. This creates a cycle: hunger, cravings, and energy dips just a few hours later. That mid-morning crash? It's not a lack of willpower, it's a physiological response. And over time, this repeated pattern can contribute to insulin resistance, where your cells stop responding properly to insulin. That's one of the root drivers behind stubborn weight gain, fatigue, and metabolic dysfunction. So what's the smarter approach? If you're going to eat in the morning, build your meal around protein and fat first. Protein has a minimal impact on insulin and helps stabilize blood sugar. It also supports muscle, which is metabolically active tissue, meaning it helps you burn more energy even at rest. Healthy fats, like those from eggs, olive oil, or avocado, provide steady fuel without triggering that sharp insulin spike. A simple example: instead of a bowl of oatmeal with fruit, try eggs with avocado and a side of leafy greens. You're not just changing food, you're changing your hormonal response. And that's the real game. Because fat loss isn't about calories alone. It's about controlling the signals that tell your body whether to store or burn energy. In the next section, we're going to talk about something even more foundational than food: hydration, and how it directly impacts your metabolism, energy, and fat-burning pathways. Before you even think about food, your body is asking for something far more fundamental: water. But not just water, hydration at the cellular level. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Overnight, you lose fluids through breathing, sweating, and basic metabolic processes. By the time you wake up, you are already in a mildly dehydrated state. And even slight dehydration can slow down your metabolism, increase fatigue, and make fat burning less efficient. But it goes deeper than that. Your cells rely on proper hydration to carry out critical processes, especially in the mitochondria, where fat is actually burned for energy. If your cells don't have enough water and electrolytes, that entire system becomes less efficient. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your metabolism like a power plant. Water is the medium that allows energy production to run smoothly. Without enough of it, everything becomes sluggish, like trying to generate electricity with low fuel flow and poor conductivity. Now, here's the mistake most people make. They wake up and go straight to coffee. Coffee is a diuretic. It can increase fluid loss. And when consumed on an already dehydrated system, it can amplify stress hormones like cortisol without the proper hydration buffer. That's not setting your metabolism up for success. What the research shows is that proper hydration, especially early in the day, can improve metabolic rate, support cognitive function, and even help regulate appetite signals. Sometimes what feels like hunger is actually dehydration. So here's a simple, powerful protocol you can start tomorrow morning. As soon as you wake up, drink 500 to 700 milliliters of water. Add a pinch of high-quality sea salt or an electrolyte mix. This helps your body actually absorb and retain the fluid rather than just passing it through. Wait at least 20 to 30 minutes before having coffee. This allows your body to rehydrate, stabilize, and prepare your system for the day ahead. You can even take it a step further by stepping outside into natural light while you hydrate. This helps regulate your circadian rhythm, which directly impacts hormones like cortisol and melatonin, both critical for metabolic health. Now here's the key takeaway. Hydration is not just about thirst, it's about cellular efficiency. If your cells aren't properly hydrated, your body cannot burn fat efficiently, no matter how perfect your diet is. Now let's talk about a hormone that most people misunderstand and often try to suppress: cortisol. You've probably heard that cortisol is the stress hormone and that high cortisol leads to weight gain. That's partially true, but it's missing a critical piece of the puzzle. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Cortisol follows a natural rhythm called the circadian cycle. It's supposed to be highest in the morning, right after you wake up. This is known as the cortisol awakening response, and this is not a problem. This is a feature. Cortisol's job in the morning is to help mobilize stored energy. It signals your liver to release glucose, giving your brain and body the fuel they need to wake up, focus, and start moving. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of cortisol as your body's natural starter engine. It turns the key, revs things up, and gets everything running. But here's where things go wrong. If you immediately introduce stressors, like checking your phone, scrolling social media, jumping into emails, or even drinking caffeine too early, you amplify that cortisol spike beyond what your body actually needs. Now, instead of a smooth rise, you get a stress overload. What the research shows is that chronic elevation of cortisol, especially when paired with high insulin, can promote fat storage, particularly around the abdomen. It also disrupts blood sugar control and can lead to energy crashes later in the day. So the goal is not to eliminate cortisol. The goal is to work with it. Here's a simple, effective protocol. For the first 20 to 30 minutes after waking, avoid intense mental stimulation. No emails, no news, no social media. Instead, expose your eyes to natural light. Step outside if possible, or sit near a window. This helps regulate your circadian rhythm and tells your brain, it's time to be awake and alert. Add gentle movement, stretching, walking, or light mobility work. This uses the cortisol spike productively, helping your body burn fuel rather than store it. And delay caffeine slightly. Give your body time to naturally wake up before adding an external stimulant. When you do have coffee, it will work with your system, not override it. Here's the key point I want you to remember. Cortisol is not your enemy. It's your timing that matters. When you align your morning routine with your natural hormonal rhythm, you create a metabolic environment that supports fat burning, stable energy, and mental clarity. Now let's take everything we've built so far and amplify it, because there's a simple tool that can dramatically increase fat burning in the morning without adding hours to your routine, and that is fasted movement. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When you wake up and haven't eaten yet, your insulin levels are low. Your body has already shifted into a fat-burning state from the overnight fast. That means your fuel tank is tilted towards stored energy, body fat. Now, when you introduce movement in that state, something powerful happens. Your body needs energy, but glucose availability is limited. So it turns to the next available source, fat. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body has two fuel tanks, one for sugar and one for fat. Most people spend their entire day running on the sugar tank because they keep refilling it with frequent meals and snacks. But in the morning, after a fast, that sugar tank is already low. So when you move your body, whether it's walking, stretching, or light exercise, you force your system to tap into the fat tank. What the research shows is that exercising in a fasted state can increase fat oxidation, improve insulin sensitivity, and enhance metabolic flexibility, your body's ability to switch between fuel sources efficiently. And this doesn't mean intense workouts. In fact, lower intensity movement is often more effective in this state. Here's a simple practical protocol. Within the first hour of waking, after hydrating, go for a 10 to 20 minute walk. Keep it light. You should be able to breathe comfortably and even hold a conversation. If you prefer, you can do gentle mobility work, yoga, or bodyweight exercises. The goal is not exhaustion, it's activation. Now, if you're more advanced, you can experiment with slightly higher intensity training. But for most people, consistency with light movement is where the real benefits happen. And here's something important. This habit doesn't just burn fat in the moment. It trains your body to become better at burning fat all day long. That's metabolic flexibility. Your body becomes less dependent on constant food intake and more capable of accessing stored energy when needed. And if this is helping you rethink your mornings, consider subscribing. I share practical, science-based strategies like this every day to help you take control of your health. For many people, the day doesn't start until that first cup of coffee. But the timing of that coffee can either support your metabolism or quietly work against it. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we discussed earlier, your cortisol levels are naturally elevated in the morning. This is your built-in alertness system. It's already doing the job that caffeine is supposed to do, waking you up, sharpening focus, and mobilizing energy. Now, when you add caffeine on top of that, especially within the first 30 minutes of waking, you're essentially stacking stimulants. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body already has its foot on the gas pedal. Adding caffeine immediately is like flooring the accelerator. You might feel a burst of energy, but it often comes at a cost. A sharper crash later, increased anxiety, and in some cases, disrupted blood sugar control. What the research shows is that delaying caffeine intake, even by 60 to 90 minutes after waking, can lead to more stable energy levels, better focus, and less dependence on repeated doses throughout the day. It also helps regulate your adenosine receptors. These are the systems in your brain that control sleep pressure and alertness. When you time caffeine better, it works with your biology instead of overriding it. Now let's connect this to fat burning. Caffeine can actually support fat metabolism. It stimulates the release of fatty acids and can enhance performance and focus during movement. But here's the key. It works best when your body is already in a balanced state, not when it's dehydrated, overstimulated, or running on a cortisol spike. So here's a simple, effective protocol. Wake up, hydrate, get light exposure, move your body, then have your coffee. Ideally, wait at least 60 minutes after waking before consuming caffeine. And when you do have it, avoid pairing it with high-sugar foods. That combination, caffeine plus sugar, can spike insulin and lead to energy crashes. If you tolerate it well, you can even have your coffee black or with a small amount of healthy fat, especially if you're extending your fast. Now here's the key takeaway. Caffeine is not the problem, timing is. When used strategically, it becomes a powerful tool. When used automatically, it becomes a crutch that disrupts your natural rhythm. And now you've built a complete morning framework. You've stabilized insulin, you've supported hydration, you've aligned cortisol, you've activated fat burning through movement, and you've timed caffeine intelligently. Let's bring this all together because what we've built here isn't just a routine, it's a metabolic strategy. Here's what's really happening when you apply these steps consistently. You wake up and don't immediately spike insulin, so your body stays in fat burning mode. You hydrate properly, so your cells can actually produce energy efficiently. You align with your natural cortisol rhythm instead of fighting it. You add light movement, so your body learns to access stored fat as fuel. And you time caffeine intelligently, so it enhances your biology instead of disrupting it. Each of these steps may seem small on their own, but together, they create a powerful shift in your metabolism. This is how you move from being a constant sugar burner to becoming metabolically flexible, able to burn fat efficiently throughout the day. And that's the real goal. Not just weight loss, but stable energy, mental clarity, and long-term metabolic health. Because when your body knows how to access its own stored energy, everything changes. You're less hungry. You have fewer cravings. Your focus improves, and your body starts working with you instead of against you. So here's your challenge. Don't try to do everything at once. Start with just one change tomorrow morning. Maybe it's drinking water before coffee. Maybe it's delaying breakfast. Maybe it's taking a 10-minute walk before you eat. Pick one and observe how your body responds. Because the truth is, your body is always giving you feedback. You just need to create the conditions to listen. And if this added value to your day, if it helped you understand your body on a deeper level, like the video and subscribe to join others who are optimizing their health naturally, one simple step at a time.